Mr. President.
Senator from California is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request unanimous consent that Barbara Bernal Monroy be given floor privileges for the remainder of the Congress.
Without objection.
Thank you. Mr. President, I rise today to join Senator Kelly and many of our colleagues who spoke just yesterday afternoon to highlight the enduring damage done to our democracy nearly 16 years ago, when a single decision handed down by the Supreme Court of the United States gave corporations and billionaires in our country unlimited spending power to influence our elections. The case is referred to as Citizens United. And the ruling didn't just change campaign finance law, it fundamentally altered our democracy. It truly was a turning point. It was a moment where the voices of everyday Americans began to be drowned out every election cycle by a small and powerful few, armed with unlimited money and unprecedented access. And we see the consequences of it to this day. Just one example, this may shock you, a billionaire like Elon Musk, who was not shy nor discreet about spending nearly $300 million to support President Trump's candidacy in 2024. Others were similarly involved, but he was not shy about it. And so it wasn't a surprise, was not a coincidence when early in the Trump administration, he was basically given the keys to the federal government and allowed to run roughshod through federal departments and agencies and budgets through this experiment called DOGE. Just one of many, many examples of how those with a lot of money, corporations and individuals, can now both influence elections and the election outcomes and then take folks in the offices that were their preference to reap benefits. All while this administration continues to ignore the needs of America's working families who are facing increasing electric bills, grocery bills, certainly health insurance costs, among so much more. Senator Kelly and others spoke to this eloquently yesterday afternoon. What I wanted to do is add to that conversation and add to the picture of what's happening with campaign finance in America at this moment. The American people are increasingly concerned with the influence of money in politics because they also see fewer efforts and resources being committed to enforcing what's left of campaign finance oversight and accountability. Under this administration, what's left of campaign finance systems and accountability is also under further attack. President Trump has completely sidelined our country's top campaign finance watchdog, the Federal Election Commission. Just last year, President Trump fired one of the commissioners, Ellen Weintraub, without cause or without justification. It was clear retaliation at her attempts to hold him accountable during his first term as president. Now, removing an FEC commissioner like this was not only unlawful and without precedent, but it was soon followed by 3 Republican members of the commission also leaving voluntarily to pursue other jobs. Now, under normal circumstances, when there's a vacancy or vacancies to the FEC, an administration would consult with the Senate on nominations to fill these vacancies quickly and on a bipartisan basis. But not with this administration. Now, there are just 2 commissioners that remain, and the agency has lacked a quorum for 260 days and counting, with no end in sight. It's not an oversight. It's clearly intentional by the White House. President Trump is purposefully leaving these vacancies open, refusing to send bipartisan nominees to the Senate for consideration and confirmation. And the reason it's so critical, the reason it's so urgent is we are quickly entering the midterm election season. So imagine that, a midterm election, a very consequential midterm election that will undoubtedly be met with unlimited spending, not just by candidates, but through super PACs and other dark forces, without the tools of campaign finance oversight, regulation, and accountability. That should concern all of us as it concerns the American people. So colleagues, we have the power to fix this. We can legislatively fix the wrongs of the Citizens United case by the Supreme Court, and we must immediately restore quorum to the FEC so they can do their critical and important job in the months ahead. So I'll continue to be a leading voice in this fight and look forward to working with all of you, both sides of the aisle, to do what's right. Now, Mr. President, I'd also like to speak and have it noted separately in the record that I rise today.
Without objection.
That I rise today with the bittersweet task of saying goodbye and paying tribute to my communications director, Tess Oswald. Tess has done such outstanding work, not just for me, but on behalf of the people of California. She's been alongside me since my first days here in the Senate 5 years ago. And I know I speak for our entire team when I say that we've been honored with the privilege of working alongside her and that we're going to miss her. She's a proud daughter of California and of parents who served the public as federal prosecutors, so public service is in her blood. She's brought remarkable drive and passion to every facet of her work. And she has both led the communications team and mentored so many of the communications team members with her heart and her presence of mind. Not surprising to me, given her tremendous past experience, both serving multiple members of Congress, but also working on political campaigns, including a presidential campaign many years ago. And of her, the members that she's worked for in the past, it includes my now colleague, Senator Adam Schiff, also representing California. Can go on and on about her resume, on and on about her contributions on different issues and different engagements with the people of California, speaking engagements, speeches, etc. But of the many, many moments that were so impactful, I think the best example of her insights and value of her advice was in the aftermath of what has become known as an infamous incident at a Department of Homeland Security press conference that I attended last year in Los Angeles. The incident, the visuals of that incident that shook so many across California and across the country, Tess, in her wisdom, took these worst of circumstances and both properly and successfully pivoted the attention and the message to where it rightfully belonged, highlighting the cruelty of this administration and now how it was terrorizing communities throughout the Los Angeles region and soon elsewhere around the country, as this administration has been targeting indiscriminately and in increasingly cruel fashion immigrants, not just the worst of the worst dangerous violent criminals that the administration likes to talk about so often, but what we have seen in reality is so many of the immigrants that have been arrested, detained, and even many deported without due process. Maybe undocumented, otherwise hardworking people contributing to our country, they're the vast majority of the victims of this administration's mass deportation efforts. Tess has helped correct that narrative and emphasize, highlight that narrative as part of her public service. On a personal note, look, as a husband and as a father myself, I know and I share very frequently that public service is not without personal sacrifice. And Tess's family has seen no different. I've seen her and some of her personal milestones over the last few years, from engagement to marriage to becoming a mother. And so I thank Quinn, her daughter, Justin, her husband, and her entire family for sharing Tess with us over these last 4 years, and certainly throughout her career. And Quinn may not appreciate it today, but I hope she one day learns to appreciate not just the value of that sacrifice, but the importance of Tess's work to me, to our office, to the people of California, and to the nation. So Tess and your entire family, just want to say we thank you. We appreciate everything that you've done for me, for Angela, for our office, for California, and for our nation. And it is with a heavy heart that we both say thank you and send you off into your next chapter, knowing that you won't be that far away. We'll have to call you back into action from time to time as life needs it. But we just so truly, truly appreciate everything that you've done and how you've done it. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.